Reverse psychology. 10 lessons on how to use rejection to your favor. What if I told you that rejection isn't the end? That it's not a sign of failure, but actually the greatest advantage you'll ever have? Sounds crazy, right? Because let's be honest, rejection stings. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you feel like you're not good enough, smart enough, attractive enough. But here's the thing. Every single successful person, every leader, every legend you admire, at some point, they were rejected. And instead of breaking them, it made them unstoppable. Think about it. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for TV. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Rejection isn't the problem. It's how you respond to it that changes everything. Today, I'm going to show you how to flip rejection on its head and use it to your advantage, using reverse psychology. We're not just talking about brushing off rejection, we're talking about making rejection work for you. When someone says you're not good enough, that's your leverage. When a company turns you down, that's your power move. When someone pulls away from you, that's how you create attraction. Because here's the real secret. Rejection creates desire. Rejection creates value. And rejection, when used right, makes you unforgettable. If you've ever been rejected, if you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or told no when you wanted a yes, stick with me. By the end of this, you'll never see rejection the same way again. Let's get into it. Part 1. The Psychology of Rejection. Rejection isn't just painful, it's wired into our survival instincts, and that's exactly why it hurts so much. Think about it. Why do we care so much about being accepted? Why does a simple no or getting ghosted feel like a punch to the gut? It's not just emotions, it's biology. Rejection triggers the same part of the brain as physical pain. In other words, your brain treats being ignored or pushed away the same way it would a broken bone. That's because thousands of years ago, rejection meant something way worse than a bruised ego. It meant being cast out from the tribe, and back then, being alone meant death. That's why we crave approval. It's why we bend over backward for people who don't even care about us. It's why we chase jobs, relationships, and opportunities that constantly slip through our fingers. But here's the first shift in mindset you need to make. Rejection doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means you're valuable. Reframe rejection as proof that you're doing something right. The most successful people in the world get rejected more than anyone else. Why? Because they put themselves out there more. They take risks. They go after things that most people are too scared to chase. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling got rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. Elon Musk was told Tesla would never work. Rejection isn't the end. It's a filter, a test, a setup for something greater. So now that you understand why rejection happens and why it actually makes you stronger, let's talk about how to use it to your advantage. Part 2. The art of not wanting what you want now. Here's where things get interesting. The moment you stop chasing something, it starts chasing you. Sounds backwards, right? But this is one of the most powerful psychological triggers in human behavior. When something is too available, it loses value. Think about the things people go crazy for. Luxury brands that refuse to discount. The one person in a group who seems hard to get. The limited edition product that sells out in minutes. We want what we can't have. We value what rejects us. This is called the scarcity effect. The harder something is to get, the more we believe it must be valuable. It's why people spend thousands on a handbag that costs $100 to make. It's why some brands never advertise, but they still have lines around the block. It's why, when someone pulls away from you, you suddenly want them even more. Now, here's the move. Instead of chasing, pull back. Instead of convincing people to pick you, create distance. Instead of begging for a second chance, let them see what they're missing. This works in dating, business, and life. If you want people to see your value, sometimes you have to become a little harder to get. And no, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about understanding human nature. The more you try to prove yourself, the less valuable you seem. The moment you stop needing something, it naturally comes your way. Lesson number 1. The power of indifference. If you want to get noticed, stop trying so hard. Let rejection work in your favor. And in the next part, I'll show you how to turn no into one of the most powerful weapons you'll ever use. Part 3. The power of saying no. Most people think rejection is something that happens to them. But here's a secret. Rejection is just as powerful when you're the one doing the rejecting. In fact, saying no is one of the quickest ways to increase your value. Think about it. Who has more power in a negotiation? The person begging for an opportunity, or the person who's comfortable walking away? Who is more attractive? The person who chases, or the one who sets boundaries? The moment you say no, you flip the power dynamic. Suddenly, you're not just another option, you're the prize. Why saying no works like magic? It's simple. When something is hard to get, people assume it must be valuable. The job candidate who says, "I have multiple offers, I need to know if this is the right fit for me," is 10x more likely to get hired than the one who says, "Please just give me a chance." The freelancer who rejects cheap clients and stands by their rates attracts higher quality clients who respect their work. The person in a relationship who is willing to walk away instantly becomes more desirable. This is why luxury brands never beg. They never flood you with ads saying, "Please buy our product." Instead, they make you prove yourself. They make you wait. They make you feel like it's an exclusive club, and in doing so, they create demand. How to use this in real life. In business, say no to undervaluing yourself. The less desperate you seem, the more people respect your skills. In dating, stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, and over-pursuing. Let people earn your time. In friendships, respect your own time and energy. Saying no isn't rude, it's a boundary. Lesson number 2. The more you say no, the more valuable you become. Want to be treated like you matter. Stop acting like you don't have options. Part 4. The art of walking away. Here's a harsh truth. People only take you as seriously as you take yourself. If you keep tolerating bad treatment, low offers, and one-sided relationships, people will keep giving you more of the same. But the moment you decide, "I deserve better," and actually walk away, everything shifts. Because here's the thing. Walking away doesn't mean losing. It means knowing your worth. Why walking away works. When you remove yourself as an option, people suddenly start seeing your value. The employer who lowballed your salary? They suddenly reconsider when you decline the offer. The person who ignored your texts? They start texting first when you stop being available. The business client who took you for granted? They panic when you say you're booked for the next month. This happens because people don't realize what they have until it's gone. When to walk away? When you're not respected. If someone consistently undervalues you, whether in work, relationships, or life, you're better off leaving. When you're being taken for granted, the more you tolerate bad behavior, the more you teach people that it's okay to treat you that way. When you feel like you're begging. If you're the only one making an effort, it's time to pull back. The big shift. The moment you stop fearing loss, you become unstoppable. When you stop needing something, you gain power. And when you walk away from things that don't serve you, You make space for things that actually do. Lesson number 3. Walking away is a power move. When you walk away from the wrong things, the right things start chasing you. And in the next part, I'll show you how to use reverse psychology to win arguments, influence decisions, and make people want to agree with you. Part 5. How to win with reverse psychology. If you've ever been in an argument or tried to convince someone of something, you've probably realized the more you push, the more people resist. It's human nature. When we feel like someone is trying to control us, we instinctively push back. But here's where it gets interesting. What if, instead of pushing, you pulled? This is the power of reverse psychology. Instead of telling people what to do, you make them think it's their own idea. Why reverse psychology works? It's all about reactance, the psychological principle that people want what they're told they can't have. The moment someone feels like they're losing their freedom to choose, they fight to get it back. That's why kids do the exact opposite of what their parents tell them. It's why hard to get works in dating. It's why businesses that create exclusivity attract more customers. And it's why, when you subtly make people feel like they're deciding for themselves, they become far more likely to agree with you. How to use reverse psychology in real life. In arguments, instead of saying, "You're wrong," say, "I'm not sure if you'll agree with this, but..." This makes people lower their defenses. In sales business, instead of pushing a product, say, "This may not be for you, but..." Suddenly, people want to prove that it is for them. In relationships, instead of begging for attention, create distance. The moment someone feels like you're slipping away, they become more interested. Example: if someone won't commit to a decision, don't pressure them. Say, "You probably wouldn't be interested in this anyway." Watch how quickly they change their mind. Lesson number 4. People want what they feel they can't have. Use this wisely, and you'll be able to influence without force, because when people believe something is their choice, they commit to it even harder. Part 6. The power of scarcity. Creating demand through rejection. Have you ever noticed that people are obsessed with things that are limited? The sneakers that sell out in minutes. The VIP section that only a few people can access. The invitation-only event that everyone is trying to get into. It's not just coincidence, it's psychology. The scarcity effect tells us that the rarer something is, the more valuable it seems. And you can use this same principle in your own life. Why scarcity works. The moment something feels abundant, people stop caring. But the moment something feels exclusive, people go crazy trying to get it. This is why Apple doesn't just release a new iPhone. They create hype, leaks, and limited stock. Nightclubs make people wait in line, even when there's space inside. High-status individuals don't make themselves available to everyone, and that's why they're in demand. How to use scarcity in your own life. In business, instead of being available 24/7, create exclusivity. Raise your prices. Be selective with clients. In dating social life, don't always be the first to text. Be busy. Let people feel that your time is valuable. In personal growth, stop chasing validation. The moment you become comfortable with being selective, people start chasing you. The big shift. If you always make yourself too available, people take you for granted. But if you become someone who isn't easy to access, suddenly, you're in demand. Lesson number 5. The rarer you make yourself, the more valuable you become. And in the next part, I'll show you how to use rejection to build an unshakable mindset. Because once you stop fearing rejection, you become unstoppable. Part 7. How to build a rejection-proof mindset. Let's be real. Most people fear rejection because they take it personally. They see it as proof that they're not good enough, smart enough, attractive enough. But here's the truth. Rejection is rarely about you. It's about them. Think about it. When a company rejects you, it doesn't mean you're unqualified. It just means they don't see the fit yet. When someone doesn't return your feelings, it doesn't mean you're unlovable. It means they're not the right match for you. When your ideas get shut down, it doesn't mean they're bad. It means the timing or the audience is wrong. Once you stop taking rejection personally, you become rejection-proof. How to stop taking rejection personally. See it as a filter, not a failure. Every rejection is just narrowing the path to the right opportunity. Detach your self-worth from approval. You are not your successes or failures. You are bigger than both. Use rejection as data. Instead of feeling defeated, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? The people who win in life aren't the ones who never get rejected. They're the ones who get rejected the most and keep going anyway. Rejection is redirection. Think about every time you got rejected and later realized it was a blessing in disguise. The job that turned you down, only for you to land something way better later. The relationship that ended, forcing you to find someone who truly valued you. The failure that seemed devastating at the time, but pushed you into something greater. Lesson number 6. Rejection doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. And in the next part, I'll show you how to use rejection to actually increase your influence and status, because when rejection is used correctly, it doesn't push people away. It pulls them in. Part 8. How rejection builds power influence. Here's something most people don't realize. Rejection actually makes you more powerful, when used the right way. Think about some of the most respected and admired people in the world. They weren't just accepted by everyone. They were rejected first. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. He came back and built Apple into one of the most valuable brands in the world. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Now she owns the media. Elon Musk was laughed at when he said he'd build electric cars and send rockets to space. Now he's changed both industries. What do they all have in common? They used rejection to build influence. How rejection creates status. Influence. Rejection creates a story. People admire those who overcome obstacles. The more you've been doubted, the more powerful your comeback story becomes. Rejection creates exclusivity. If everyone says yes to you, it means you're not aiming high enough. The most valuable things in life are hard to get. Rejection forces you to level up. Instead of trying to be accepted, use rejection as fuel to improve, refine, and come back stronger. How to use this in real life. In business, when you get rejected, don't just move on, come back better. Learn what didn't work, improve, and make them regret ever saying no. In social life, stop seeking approval. The less you care about fitting in, the more people respect you. In personal growth, use rejection as a badge of honor. The more you're rejected, the closer you are to something great. Lesson number 7. Rejection can be turned into power if you keep going. And in the next part, I'll show you how to make rejection your secret weapon for personal growth. Because the moment you stop fearing rejection, you become unstoppable. Part 9. How to use rejection to fuel personal growth. Most people run from rejection. Winners use it as fuel. If you look at the most successful people in any field, you'll notice a pattern. They've all faced massive rejection. But instead of letting it break them, they used it as motivation to improve, adapt, and come back stronger. Why rejection is your best teacher. Think about it. When everything goes smoothly, you don't learn much. Growth happens when you face resistance. Rejection forces you to adapt, reflect, and refine. The problem is, most people take rejection as a permanent verdict, instead of what it really is: feedback. If you get rejected in business, it's telling you to sharpen your pitch. If you get rejected in dating, it's showing you where you can improve your confidence, communication, or standards. If you get rejected from a job, it's pushing you towards something better suited for you. Every rejection contains a lesson. The question is, will you learn from it, or will you let it define you? How to turn rejection into growth. Analyze the feedback. What was the real reason behind the rejection? Is there something you can improve? Refuse to let it define you. You're not a failure just because you failed. You're only a failure if you stop trying. Turn the pain into power. Let rejection fuel you, not break you. The best revenge. Leveling up. The growth mindset shift. Once you stop fearing rejection, you become unstoppable, because now, failure isn't something to avoid. It's part of the process. Lesson number 8. Rejection is a growth tool, not a death sentence. And in the next part, I'll show you how to flip rejection into attraction. Because when you learn to handle rejection well, people start to respect, admire, and even chase you. Part 10. Turning rejection into attraction. Here's a secret. The way you handle rejection determines how people see you. If you beg for another chance, you lose power. If you take it personally, you lose confidence. If you walk away with self-respect, you instantly become more attractive. Why handling rejection? Well, makes you more attractive. People are drawn to those who don't crumble under pressure. If you can take a rejection and not break, not chase, not get bitter, but instead move forward with confidence, people will respect you more. How to flip rejection into attraction. Don't react emotionally. Stay calm. If you act desperate or defensive, you lose status. Instead say, "I respect that," and move on. Maintain self-respect. If someone doesn't see your value, don't try to convince them. Instead, let them see what they're missing. Keep your standards high. When you don't settle, people realize your value. You're not just an option, you're the prize. The ultimate power move. Indifference. When you treat rejection as no big deal, it creates a psychological shift. The person who rejected you starts to wonder if they made a mistake. The employer who turned you down suddenly reconsiders when they see you thriving elsewhere. The person who ghosted you starts getting curious when you don't chase. The client who rejected your offer sees your value when they notice others lining up to work with you. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Lesson number 9. Confidence in rejection makes you magnetic. Final takeaway. Rejection is just the beginning. So here's the truth. Rejection isn't a stop sign. It's a detour to something better. Rejection isn't proof of failure. It's proof that you're trying. Rejection doesn't lower your value unless you let it. The people who go the furthest in life aren't the ones who avoid rejection. They're the ones who get rejected and keep going anyway. So the next time you face rejection, remember, you can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. The choice is yours. Lesson 10. Rejection is not the end. It's a setup for the comeback. Conclusion. Rejection is your superpower. Let's take a step back and look at everything we've uncovered. You now know that rejection isn't something to fear. It's something to use. It's a tool, a test, a hidden advantage that, when used correctly, can make you stronger, smarter, and more successful than ever. But the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Because here's the truth. Most people will hear this and go right back to fearing rejection, running from it, avoiding risks. They'll keep chasing approval, settling for less, and letting rejection define them. But not you. You're different. You now understand. Rejection is proof you're aiming high. The biggest winners have faced the most rejection. Rejection builds strength. The more you embrace it, the more unshakable you become. Rejection creates value. People want what they can't have. Walking away increases your worth. Rejection is redirection. Every no is leading you to the right yes. So the next time you face rejection, whether it's in business, relationships, or life, don't react the way most people do. Don't beg. Walk away. Don't get bitter. Get better. Don't see it as the end. See it as the beginning. Because the truth is, rejection is never about what you lost. It's about what you're about to gain. Your call to action. If this resonated with you, don't just nod along, apply it. Drop a comment. What's one time you faced rejection that later turned out to be a blessing? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. Rejection isn't the end of your story. It's the plot twist that makes it legendary. Now go out there and use it.